Good afternoon, this is Warren Queton, the District 7 legislator for the Kiowa tribe, here to talk to you about the upcoming special election. As you are aware, the Kiowa Indian Council called for a special election on June the 21st, calling for 5 amendments to our Constitution. So the first election in this process is decided by majority vote with no minimum required turnout. If each question is approved, they will be placed on a special election for a second election, which will be held where 30% minimum voter turnout must be involved in order for the resolutions to meet our constitutional requirements. So this is a call out for all eligible voters. To be an eligible voter of the Kiowa tribe, you must be 18 years of age. And you'll need to register with the Kiowa Election Commission in order to vote in each election. Now, the vote for the first election, the timeline has already passed on August the 15th. But you can still vote in the second election, which is where we'll need you to vote on. So if you have any assistance, we'll give you a number later on in this video. So let's discuss the 5 resolutions that are requiring a constitutional amendment. There are 3 resolutions that are up for amendment in regards to our blood quantum. Enrollment by descendancy is the first resolution, to reduce enrollment requirements to 1/8 Indian blood, and another amendment making all current enrollees 4/4 Kiowa blood. So let's talk about the impacts of changing our enrollment blood quantum to descendancy. This is something that's going to be a long-term impact on the Kiowa tribe enrollment numbers. Currently, there are about 10,350, approximately 10,350 tribal members enrolled in the Kiowa tribe. Now, if we go to descendancy, we look for that number to jump. We don't know if it could double. I don't think it'll double. It'll probably be about a 75%, 60 to 75% increase in tribal enrollment. But that will put extra strain on tribal programs and tribal services that are funded through our casino enterprises. So we are looking at all impacts of what happens if we go to descendancy. Now, that means that if we go to descendancy, there will be no blood quantum to enroll in the Kiowa tribe. That means we would just be like Choctaws, Cherokees. Any amount of blood quantum would be accepted as Kiowa blood, thus making that person eligible for tribal enrollment. That is what we are calling descendancy. Lineage. Doesn't matter what blood quantum you are, if you can prove that you have Kiowa blood running in your veins, then you are eligible for enrollment in the Kiowa tribe. The second blood quantum resolution is to reduce our requirement to 1/8 Kiowa blood. Now, we've been under a quarter since our tribe actually established its government earlier in the 60s and 70s. The tribal enrollment requirement has always been a quarter. If we drop it to 1/8, in my opinion, it would be a short-term fix, meaning it'd be like kicking the can down the road to where I'm a quarter blood. That means that my children would have to, their generation would have to address changing the blood quantum again, because their children, my grandchildren, would be ineligible to be enrolled tribal members. So just keep that in mind. Dropping the blood quantum to 1/8 is merely a fix, a short-term fix. Maybe 30 years, our children will have to address a blood quantum change in the future. And then the third resolution is to amend the blood quantum, making all current enrollees 4/4 Kiowa blood. Now, the resolution says all current enrollees. Well, what happens if a person has passed away and they are a quarter blood? They are no longer a current enrollee, so their blood quantum would not change. It would remain at a quarter blood. Therefore, their children would be ineligible to be enrolled tribal members. I hope that makes sense. I'll say that again. So this resolution is for current enrolled members. That means if a person was on the roll, has passed away, was a quarter blood Kiowa, 1/4. They passed away and are no longer considered current enrolled members because they passed away. Their children would be an 1/8. Therefore, they would not be able to get their blood quantum increased to 4/4 because that parent has been deceased. So we're trying not to lock anybody out. So I'm not trying to sway our voters either way. I'm just asking everybody to be informed, read up on these blood quantum resolutions, totally understand them, and then make an informed decision about which way you want to vote in the first election. The fourth resolution is to remove the 30% voter requirement to amend the Constitution. 30%, you're looking like of eligible voters to vote in an election is a tall order. I think we're sitting around 1,000 voters that participate in our elections, and that's on a good year. Sometimes we fall below that. So to ask for 25 to 3,000 signatures on a vote, on a ballot, it's a tall order. So that 30% may be unrealistic under this new Constitution. So we need to talk about what number makes sense. Is it a majority vote that will carry these resolutions forward, moving forward, and to amend the Constitution? And then the fifth resolution is the KIC amendment to put in a vacancy clause for the office of the Kiowa Indian Council coordinator. So currently there is not a vacancy clause. This would add one in and address should that position become vacant, how is the KIC able to fill that position and appoint somebody to be a qualified KIC coordinator when needed. So read up on these resolutions. You can go to the Kiowa Tribe's website, kiowatribe.org. Go to the Election Commission. You can read these resolutions. There are also 3 resolutions that are on the ballot that are not requiring constitutional amendment. Those 3 are to establish a Kiowa Cultural and Community Center, a tornado siren and storm shelter program for rural Kiowa churches, and then also requiring the legislature to create a revenue allocation plan, looking at possibility of pursuing a per cap in future years. So I encourage everybody, go to the Kiowa Tribe's website, to the Election Commission, fill out your voter registration application. It's on the website. Download it, send it in. We really need a lot of people to vote in the second election, where we need that 30% number to amend the Constitution, because if we don't get that 30%, the amendments fail and there will be no action taken on blood quantum. So we want people to vote on that. Pick the one that you choose as the strongest for you and your ancestors, and we're just wanting everybody to remain engaged and with our tribal process here. If you have any questions, you can always visit the District 7 website or call us, email us. Our email is district7legislature@kiowatribe.org. And if you go to the kiowatribe.org website, you will see a District 7 page. We're the only other district that has its own page. So go and look at our website for updated information. And thank you for your time.